Welcome again to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we're continuing our conversation with our in-house artist, Mallory Sherman. It seems to me, Mallory, that not only people take their uh, validation of themselves and their self-confidence, self-esteem, is how many likes and how many views they get of whatever they put out there.
And I mean, this even goes back to art too, because I mean, you can have someone doing fantastic work and you can get 4 likes and no comments, and then someone else can like put something out and they can get 90 comments and X amount of likes. And it's like, does that make that art better? Does it make it worse? Is it just like if you comment on their post, they comment on yours? What does it really matter? And I mean, that's just art. And then if you make it a picture of yourself and it's like, well, so and so gets this many likes and this person gets this many. I mean, it changes from like how much value does this piece of art have to like how much value do you as a person? And that's just like
I
insane.
think you hit upon a very good topic, is the value of a person, the value of a human being. I've often said to people that, when they look at a video, and it might be an attractive young lady or an attractive man, and they would be saying anything, and the comments might be, they're just great. It's so insightful. I've learned so much for you. I try to watch and listen to you every time that you're on. Sometimes I actually had one person do this. I would have them return a reply comment and said, if I was 80 pounds overweight, would you be saying the same thing? Would you be saying how insightful and intelligent and helpful I am? Or would you have just flipped through?
Yeah, and it's even like backhanded compliments or so that too, you know. I mean, sometimes like people can't just scroll on, they have to feel the need to say something. And I mean, I've gotten them too. I'm just gonna say it about my art because that's what I use social media for. I mean, I've gotten someone be like, "I don't like abstract art at all, but yours is okay." I mean, okay. I mean, you're entitled to that opinion. You don't have to like anything, like that. But why you followed me, you liked my post, and you commented. And again, that's just art. I mean, I've seen crazy stuff in comments when it's like that about talking like a person. And it's almost like based on someone's physical appearances, you can almost judge how the majority of the comments will respond.
Well, how about people who make a habit out of looking to be offended?
The internet is just a space that lets that just run wild. People say very provocative things because they want very aggressive responses, and then they're going to respond even aggressively. I try to stay away from content like that, but there's definitely people that enjoy arguing, enjoy causing a scene in their own platform. They're like, well, it's my page, I'm entitled to say this. And it's just, I feel like Twitter was like a space for that. Never really was into Twitter.
What anybody puts out there, no matter what it is, someone will find offense to it. Someone will be offended by it. Always. Always. Now, I don't know how it was when your high school graduation was, or every high school graduation I've ever attended. The main message to the graduating class was, you're the future. We're counting on you. You're the ones who are going to change the world. The world is yours. All these different types of things, all these responsibilities, and all these hopes on these bright new faces. It seems like that's the same message to every graduating class. I don't know if that was one to yours.
I was a COVID graduate. We didn't really do
Uh,
that. But it sounds on par from what I've heard.
yes, yes. So my original thought on getting and talking to you this evening is, as human beings, can we do better?
I hope so. I mean, me too. I mean, for me, social media is very much something that I use a lot, but it also terrifies me. And it's like, as one individual, you feel like, what can I do when there's developers trying to make various apps that keep you engaged, keep selling to you, lock you in? And I'm just like, what can I do besides delete everything and be out of the loop? Is there a balance we can find, or do you just give in?
Well, what type of behavior do you think you, as a aspiring and I think incredibly talented and creative, imaginative artist, what type of behavior can you model for that type of community?
Yeah, well, this is a personal one. I'm on some different like artist like chats and stuff, and a lot of talk is like how to get more exposure, and a lot of people say you'll get way more engagement on TikTok because a lot of people use it. I don't care. I don't care. This is a personal thing. I refuse to go back on TikTok. I refuse to create on there. So that is a personal thing for me. I feel like Instagram, I have a healthy relationship with it. I go on there, share my stuff, see other people's art. Talk to a few friends on there. It's very limited. I think just if you can make standards for yourself and uphold them, I mean, maybe someone else is like, I can't go on Instagram. I just see people I know. It's just not good for me. So maybe that'll be their thing. They say no to Instagram and maybe they go, I don't know, post stuff on Pinterest. I think it's very situational and what works for me not works for everybody else. But something is for me, I hold true to that. I am not feeding into TikTok. I'm done with that.
So at one time, we had a lot of challenge podcasts. We would challenge people to change something in their lives, either increase in personality and attribute or to decrease one. We would make a challenge. Like we talked earlier, I would challenge people to complain about nothing that day. I would challenge people to listen to more words than they would say. I would make challenges to uh, be kind or do five and random acts of kindness per day and that type of challenges. If you were going to talk to people about can we do better or let's do better, what would your challenge be?
I would say maybe leave a nice comment on someone. You never know how that can make their day. If you see like a bigger art account or maybe if it's someone that you know and you may not want to like comment on their post, maybe like send them a text and be like, "Oh, you know, I've noticed you've been," because everyone has some type of interest. So let's say you see your friend's been trying to play music and you think their music's like really good, or you're just like, wow, that's really cool that they tried to pursue something or putting themselves out there. You could send them a little text and be like, hey, like keep it genuine, I think it's really interesting that you're trying to pursue a hobby or pursue a dream of yours or do something else. Just be a little bit more positive. I feel like a lot of comments are negative. I mean, we're talking about backhanded comments and just saying like a genuine message and maybe not necessarily like commenting on it. Like if you see like your friend doing something, maybe not leave a comment, text them, send them that message, make it a little bit more personal.
Okay. So, what we're doing is when we model behavior for people. So, if there were young ladies, young men out there that admire your work, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, never meet your heroes.
Yes.
Okay. Because they may not, you have an expectation in your mind of what they're going to be. But if someone were to actually meet Mallory, what would they find out about her?
They would probably realize I'm not as outgoing as I seem on my post. I feel like I like to tell little stories in the captions, which people read maybe is I love to get to know everyone. Doesn't It's not that I don't, but I get a little stressed out in those situations. So
Okay. So you have a message. What is your message? What is your message to put out?
mine is I feel everyone has something that they want to share with the world, an aspect of themselves, and I say find the way that you want to do to share that way with everyone.
So with your medium that you have to put out there in a way to help people perhaps want to do better, perhaps artists that want to strive. Most people have a resistance to moving. They have a fear of moving. Most people train for a 100-yard dash, Mallory, and run 75 yards and quit. Okay. So, what type of resistance did you have to overcome to actually sit down and do your work?
Yeah, I mean, it's all when they say like keep at it. I mean, it used to take me to draw one picture, it would take me about 6 to 7 hours. And then as I got more in the groove of it, I learned more technique. I was able to cut it down to maybe 5.5. And then over time, I got into like a little routine, a little process. I would wake up, I would have some coffee, I would do a little bit of painting. Then after a while, I switched it up. I would do, because I was in school at the time, I would do my morning classes. I'd come back, have a break, have afternoon classes. Later on in the evening, I would then paint. I had music on. So I would say to like keep pushing through. You just have to keep doing it over and over again. And eventually, the more you do it, you'll get more used to it, more comfortable, and you'll be able to make more effort, more passing through like your goals and stuff, just as you keep on keeping on, as they say.
Well, the hardest thing to do is to start.
Yeah, so if you can overcome that, just don't stop.
The hardest thing to do is to start. And generally, what I'll tell people, if you want to be an artist, grab a pencil and on a piece of paper and just move your hand, and you've started.
I mean, that's exactly what I did.
Yes, and most people, unfortunately, and we've talked about this on a previous podcast, put conditions on their goals. Well, I can be a better writer when I get a better desk, or I can be a better artist when I get a better easel. And we put conditions on our goals rather than just starting. Okay, so with your type of medium and the influence that you can have on people, so how does that feel when a person would look at your stuff and they'd want to get a little bit better about Mallory, and they want to see the same type of person that in the comments that you make on the authentic human being that you are?
Well, I say I respond to every direct message, and I've gotten quite a bit of people. They start out with just saying like, "Oh," say, "Hey, I like your art," or some people would like, "Hey, your art's similar to mine." I respond. Some of us have actually become pretty good friends. You know, we talk to each other on a regular basis. We shoot ideas past each other.
Yeah.
So definitely that's the way with me. I'm better off like that way, and then it leads to something more. But I probably won't be like full on me right away, but that doesn't mean I don't want to talk. I love to meet people. I love to get to know everyone, see what you're doing. So please do.
Well, a lot of people, when they talk about this, say, well, I can't, I'm not doing well. And sometimes rather than say, oh, I don't hold their hands and codify them and say, I'll just say, well, then do better. Then do better. So what was the focus of this podcast. The theme of it was, can we do better? Can human beings do better? The people that you see, I stay away from the news. I try to stay away from the news cycle. But there's so many people out there who have become disillusioned and have lost hope, Mallory.
Yeah, I mean, it goes into the whole thing about like you control what you see. Uh, if you constantly view negative media, negative posts around negative people, I mean, your outlook's going to be negative. If you really want to change, start by finding the good people in your life, or just ignoring the negativity for a little bit and gradually increase that.
So if you want to be a writer, be around people who write well. If you want to become a better musician, be around people who play well. If you want to be a better artist, be around people whose art you admire. So Mr. Rogers, when there was times of trouble, he would talk to children and he'd say, if you're in trouble, find a helper. And if you can't find a helper, be one. So what's your sense of hope? What's your message out there for people who have given up and they look at your art, they look at different things going on, thinking that, gee, I could never be like that?
I'd say if art's not your passion, I mean, you'll know what your passion is. If something is like such a struggle for you to do and you feel like it's not bringing you joy and it's just you're not getting anywhere with it, you refuse to do it. That's not the passion. That's not the avenue that's really for you. Um, if there's something that you truly want to do and you feel it in your heart, feel it everywhere, your mind, everything's telling you this is what I want to do, you have to listen to that and do it. Because if you're not, then you really don't want it that bad. So that's kind of what I used to like check myself. I try using like all aspects of my life. I'm like, if something gets a little bit tough or there's like an obstacle, I'm like, how bad do I want it? Because if I want it bad enough, I will push on through this. And if I'm not doing that, obviously I'm not wanting it bad enough, which means I need to check it. I'm like, I need to adjust my mindset or adjust goals. So I'd say to someone who looks at what I do and they want to do it, just know everyone starts from somewhere. Like you said previously, start. You'll find your way as you go, but just get started, keep at it. And if you want it bad enough, you will make it happen.
Everyone has a passion. Everyone has something that they're interested in. Unfortunately, we tend to try to fit in somehow and mold ourselves into something that we're not. I always use the words like, why, when you're a good bowler, do you insist on joining a golf league?
And that's exactly perfect example of what I'm saying. I mean, whatever your passion is. I mean, for a while there, I thought I really wanted to get into filmmaking. Um, I actually borrowed a camera from a friend, and I think I turned it on once. I don't think that was my passion. So that's exactly what I'm saying. And it's all part of trial and error. There's nothing wrong with trying out new things, and that's how you discover what you like. You try that out and you're like, I didn't like that, but I like this aspect of it. So definitely, I mean, it takes some time. Some people know right away, but you know,
We're always asking people, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Do you like this? Uh, and their conception of that, their visualization, their perspective may be entirely different than yours. Remember, people who make art do it for themselves.
oh yeah, I mean, that's why I started making art is something I felt like I needed to do. So it definitely helps me a lot, and it helps when other people do like it too, because it's like nice to connect with other people through that, but it helps me most of all.
So for people out there who say, well, I'm not doing well, then my just blunt reply is then do better. Then do better. So, what parting message do you have tonight? And again, it's just been delightful sharing an evening with you.
I'd say my message would be I say you know yourself best. You know what you're capable of, you know what you want to do. And just like we were talking about those self imposed aspects that we put roadblocks on ourselves. I know for me, I tend to do that when it's something I subconsciously don't really want. So if you notice yourself doing that, I think you need to reevaluate a bit. And at the end of the day, you know yourself the best. Take a moment, sit with yourself, see where your interests lie, see what sets you on fire, where your passions go, and trust yourself and get started and see where it takes you.
I would suggest that everyone out there pay heed to Mallory's words and find your authentic self that isn't trying to mold yourself into acceptability by others to be part of the cool kids. So, until then, until we have Mallory on again, which I hope we'll have on in the future, and you can certainly connect to our website, which has recently been revamped. You'll find some links to Mallory's website. And as always, we offer a free prescription, fruits, nuts, and vegetables, and unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Do a kindness for another and do a kindness for yourself. Forgive another and forgive yourself. If we're all not God's children, none of us are God's children. Till all are free, none are free. Namaste, my friends.
If you're interested in flying the colors of fishing without bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait.